Thank you for watching this recording to learn more about the K-5 virtual opportunities available through Poplar Bluff School District. This content is being presented by Ms. Patty Robertson, the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Patty Robertson, and I've worked in this district for 28 years. Some of you I may have had other family members. I'm now reaching the point where kids are coming back and saying, oh, you had my mom. Makes me feel real wonderful. But anyway, I've been a sub in this district. I was a teacher's aide, a teacher, an assistant principal, a principal, and now I work up here at the district office as assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction. 28 years ago, would have never dreamed we'd be in the place we're in now, but we're here. And so we all trying to do the best we can to offer the best plan for our families. So today's agenda, we're going to have an overview of the program. Talk about the curriculum that's provided, the role of the learning coach, and anytime you hear learning coach, that's really intended for the home side of things. So whoever is helping the child, our student at home, is what we mean when you hear learning coach. That's the parent facilitation side, or the grandparent, or whomever will be in the home helping with the educational piece. How to enroll, and then questions and answers. I do want to introduce my co-host. She's all things technology, and her name is Chandra. She's on the other end, kind of helping me with the technology piece, so I could just focus on what I'm saying. So thank you, Miss Chandra. And if you think of something along the way that you think we've talked about and you need to plug, please do. All right, so this has been a wild summer, one that I'm sure you will agree that we've never experienced, and we have worked really, really hard on reentry plans and then developing options for our families that are not, ready to return to school. So the coursework that we have in this online option, the coursework is customized. And so we've tailored that to match as much as we can what's happening in the classroom. And it will be aligned to the same pace as what is happening in our classrooms. The instruction, though, will be delivered online, and it will be facilitated by Poplar Bluff teachers. The remote learning at the bottom keeps pace with seated learning. So if at the marking period, you decide it's safe to return to school, my kids are missing their friends, whatever, your child can return and be in the same place, or relatively the same place as if they were here. I'm gonna let you move us along a little bit, Chandra. Okay, who we serve, and I kind of talked about that a little bit. It's families who aren't yet ready to return, and students who thrive in a home-based learning environment. This is a great time and opportunity if you feel like your child would just thrive in a home-based learning environment. This is something for you to take advantage of. But the parents at the top, the parents would serve as the primary instructor, because you are the one at home monitoring and facilitating and making sure that part of it happens. And then the teachers come in for a little bit of extra support and a little bit more facilitation with the curriculum. Okay, and who are the instructors through us? They're the teachers that it's Poplar Bluff certified classroom teachers are the instructors. It's not someone that lives in another state that you're only, you don't even know who they are. It's our teachers. Our teachers are going to be the ones facilitating and supporting you through your child through this curriculum, you and your child. Okay, so we have courses available from kindergarten through grade 12, and the flexible learning opportunities, parent-assisted education to serve home-based learners. Let me check my phone. It is really blowing up. I want to make sure people can hear me. Okay, sorry. I'm going to flip it over. I thought the way it kept dinging, I thought maybe the sound was off or something. Okay, so students receive personal support by our teachers who are committed to your student success, kind of what we talked about. I never stay on script. And then we do want to create a connection between home and school so that we can work together to make sure that our children achieve as much as they can in this type of setting. Okay, so those are the courses that will be offered. And K-5, that is pretty much it. It's your core and it's your electives. That's pretty much what they would have if they were attending school. And so we will mirror that in the home setting. Okay. And so this is kind of a picture of when your student logs into the student app, they see their courses. In this particular screenshot, I know it's little, it doesn't really matter, but it just shows 2 courses there that they can click into, and they will submit their work. The teachers are going to get feedback. The educators are notified once an assignment is submitted. The activities we feel like are rigorous in the course and allow students to work at their own pace. So that's one thing that we have been really talking with parents about, because what we did last spring, I appreciated the call from Dr. Dill this weekend, because what we did last spring was an emergency type response that we gave to families. It was like, oh, we didn't even get to say goodbye to them. And so we just came together, did as much as we could in as short a time as we could, but that really isn't virtual instruction. That does not replace what they would be learning in school. And so this is, if you've taken a college course online, or if you've taken anything like that, that's what this is. This is a platform where there won't be regularly scheduled hours with the teacher where you log in and watch the class happen. This will be where you log into a course and you complete some activities, you submit those, you get feedback from your teacher. And our teachers will engage with like reteaching sessions. They'll engage and do a lesson that way. But the first step would be this platform of curriculum where they work through, there's video-based lessons, they read, they talk about it. They do it at their own pace. If they need to rewatch it 3 times to get it in practice, but then once they submit, they will get feedback from the teachers. And again, if reteaching is necessary, the teacher will step in and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and take a moment. I don't know if it's in the slides, but to kind of explain, at school in K-5, you have, well, in K-3, you have 1 teacher. So in this particular platform, you'll have 1 teacher. So you're gonna have 1 teacher assigned to your family, or your student, really. You may have multiple students. So 1 teacher is assigned to a student, and they're going to oversee all of the courses. So there's going to be multiple courses. So when you saw that little picture there, they'll have like 6 courses. They'll have their core courses and their elective courses. And so they'll click into those, do the work, submit it. But 1 teacher in grades K-3 will, give the feedback. In grades middle school, in grades 4 and 5, 6 is also, but it's in the other webinar. But you may have 2 teachers so that we can really fine tune the content. But, we may have 1. It just, they're certified to do all of the subjects at those levels. And so we may end up with 1 teacher. We just haven't, until you enroll, we're not sure how and who we're going to staff all of that. But at middle school, you have 2 teachers. So we may end up assigning 2 teachers. Okay, so I said it's self-paced. You take as long as you need to complete the activities, but it is important, I feel like, and especially last spring, I recognized it with my own kids. I have 3 high school students and didn't want to do anything during COVID break but sleep, and their teachers were working themselves to the bone to do Google Meets, and my kids were, it was a struggle to make them engage when it was optional and it wasn't required. This is different. This is required. Grades are going to be taken. Course completion is expected. It's a very different animal. But anyway, we think it's best if you kind of set up a schedule in your home and the expectations in your home for your child. Get up maybe they don't have to get up at 6 o'clock, but get up by 8 o'clock. Shower, eat, brush your teeth, and let's get ready for school. And just kind of set up a schedule for your kids, because we do think some normalcy and a routine, they will do a lot better. And so those are some time expectations for K-5 students. If your student is advanced, they may make it through that more quickly. And if your student struggles, it may take them longer. But that is a good rule of thumb for you to kind of keep in mind as you set a daily schedule in your home. All right, so tools for learning. We have been asked this question, so we did put this slide in. We do have a link on our website of all of the resources that are needed for your particular grade level. So if you're in 2nd grade, you can go to the website, click on grade 2 supplies, and get the full list. It looks like a lot, but a lot of it is just things around your house. It's common everyday items. And if you don't have it, perhaps a neighbor has it, or you can go to the Dollar Tree or Dollar Store and get it really inexpensively. But you've got basic school supplies, You've got household items. A lot of that's going to be used for, if you think about what a teacher uses in the classroom every day to do activities, to do hands-on activities, to count, the manipulatives, experiments. Those are some examples of things you're going to need to have around the house for them to be able to do the work, to really be able to engage and apply what they're learning. Your teachers may, when they get connected with them, they may offer some substitutes or kind of some workarounds. But I did want to point out the materials, and you will know those in advance. You don't have to go get them all at once. You'll know as a unit is coming up, the teacher can say, hey, these are the things you're going to be needing next week, and give you time to get those. So don't let that totally stress you out, but I do want you to know that you will have to find some things around your house to help them with their activities. And then technology resources. Students will need a computer. They will need speakers so they can hear, or headphones, and then internet access. And that's a big one. That was one that some of our families struggled with last spring, was having good, reliable internet access. And that is a must in this type of environment. Their grade depends on them to be able to submit and receive work, feedback, listen to the videos. They need to be able to access all of that. We have had some questions. I'll go ahead and throw it in here now in case you just jotted it down on your Q&A or just already have it. I have already asked it, is will the district supply a device? And we will work with families as much as we can if there's a need for a device. We probably will have to limit to some degree and maybe do a device for a family. And so if there's 2 kids in the home, they may have to just work out time to share, because not everything's going to be on the computer. There's going to be some things that they have to just do, on their own notebook paper. But, that's probably how we can continue to have regular traditional school and virtual school, is we may have to limit those resources a little bit just to make sure we have enough to go around. But if you have a need, then when you enroll at your building, just express that to your principal or however they handle that there, your counselor, and they'll submit that, and we'll see what we can do to work with families as much as we can. Okay, and so these are some learning support tools. And I think we're going to watch a video here in a minute that's going to show these a lot more clearly. But there's translation, there's dictionaries, picture dictionaries, screen masking. A lot of that's good tracking when students are trying to read. If you have that tracking, that screen masking, that kind of helps them just kind of keep their place, especially when you're looking at a computer often. I need it sometimes when I'm reading on paper, and so that just kind of really helps guide them. Study guides, review, there's pen, text, audio, and you can bookmark pages to go back and relook at. And Chandra, I can't remember, is this where we click into the video? Or do you have another slide?
Yes, I think we're about to click into the video.
All right, let's watch that for just a bit. And then, so this video will show us the overview of the curriculum and kind of give you a picture of what this is going to look like for your children.
Each and every lesson will begin with stating objectives and clear goals for your students and teachers. Our kindergarten through 5th grade ELA content is developed around the balanced literacy framework, with word work, reading, writing, listening, and speaking all the way to assessment embedded in the content. Students will work seamlessly across the different strands that are embedded in the daily lessons. Activities will vary across the language arts strands, allowing students to be fully engaged and interested. From videos for introduction to new concepts and direct instruction, to interactive practice and games, to embedded literature-rich content with multiple opportunities for students to write and even record their fluency for practice. In our math courses, you'll see the natural progression of lessons for students. Attention-grabbing videos, games, direct instruction videos, opportunities to practice are even given to the students before moving them into an offline activity to assess their proficiency. Our science courses grab the students' interest by inviting them into a world of hands-on activities, videos, and experiments. Students are also continuing literary development and are given activities to write across the curriculum to show their understanding of new concepts being taught. Extension activities also allow students the opportunity to have a choice and voice in their learning activities by letting them explore what interests them in guided activities. Social studies courses help bring the real-world application to our students in the 21st century for where we are today in relation to what was. Here's another opportunity for students to integrate literacy across the curriculum. Students constantly interact with the content to make real-world connections. Extension activities and opportunities for project-based learning really give teachers and students the opportunity to personalize the learning space. Consumable workbooks with offline activities and practice are available for our elementary core courses. These same activities are also embedded into the online courses to access as PDF documents. Our K-5 courses are materials light, and most items can be found directly in the home or blended.
Patty, I think the video ended just a second early, and you'd already gone over materials, and that was where we planned to end. But now I think we're moving on to what is the parents or the learning coach's role in education, and I'll pass it back to you. And then I'm going to play it whenever you're ready.
Okay, perfect. I thought I did something wrong. It ended, and I thought, oh no, what did I push? I apologize. And I did turn my video off. I'm sorry, Miss Chandra. I know you wanted to be able to keep bandwidth and all of that strong, and I left mine on, and I do apologize for that. I thought I did something wrong though. So parent role, that's the next part, is we are excited about this, and our teachers really are excited about this. We have over 100 teachers that said, hey, sign me up, let me get started. I want to connect with these students any way we can. However, whatever we need to do, I'm willing to make it happen. And so I'm really, really proud of our teachers, and we're excited. But it is a big decision, and not every student can thrive or be successful in this environment, and we want to make sure that you just understand. And there is an enormous amount of responsibility that rests in the family. Like I don't worry about my kids' high school education, thank goodness, because I can't teach them that level anyway. But I send them to school, and I know they're going to get what they need. Well, if I took that on in my home, I have to take on a different role than I have in the past. And so we're going to just talk a little bit about the parent role, and the learning coach is really the word, but learning coach and those responsibilities.
This video will cover understanding the role of the learning coach, preparing a learning space and schedule, previewing courses and understanding course components, synchronous sessions, and other suggested activities. Understanding the role of the learning coach. A learning coach is a parent, family member, or other adult that is home with a student. The role of the learning coach is to guide the student through the lessons as needed, discuss concepts being taught, assist with interactive tools and games, oversee assignments, help facilitate hands-on learning that may be in the course, check for understanding on assignments, keep the student on schedule and on pace, ensure all components of the course are being done with fidelity, and communicate with teachers as needed. While these are picture-perfect ideas for setting up your home learning space, spaces can easily be set up to be multifunctional as well, from tables to small floating wall desks and shelves to closet desk transformations. Learning spaces today are not just a desk and a chair, and it's important to create a learning space that provides students the opportunity to move about as needed. Make sure the desk and chair allow the student to sit upright at the computer. Have other seating options in the room for students to move to do offline assignments, such as a comfy chair or beanbag for independent reading, a larger table with coloring supplies, glue and scissors for written work and projects, etc. Wall space to post a word wall, the 5-finger retail chart, and choosing a Just Right Book PDF documents for frequent reference. And organizational bins for materials and supplies will make life easier too. Educational research and trends show the importance of scheduling your student's day. While virtual schooling does provide you the autonomy of flexible scheduling with your student, students are more likely to thrive with a predictable and consistent schedule. Here are a few samples. If for some reason your student is accelerating through content quickly and has other activities that limit the schooling time during the day, we suggest this as a minimum to work within the course content. Now let's review the importance of previewing courses and understanding course components. It's important to preview the courses your student's in. You'll preview a course by logging into your Observer account. A typical module will have lessons for the student to learn about the concept and practice the concept, assignments for the student to complete, and assessments that are either done in the course or done in a synchronous session with a teacher. Upon logging in, you and your student will see a dashboard with course cards that show progress and current grades and give access to course activities and grade books. The to-do list will show student activities due currently, upcoming, and past due to help keep them on track with progress. The activity stream will show students where they have left off and what they have recently submitted. Once you move into the course itself, you'll see the Learning Coach and Support Resource tab. Inside every course, there is a resource module. The resource module has a section for the Learning Coach to learn more about their role, as well as how to navigate through the platform. In addition to the resource module within each lesson, there's a Learning Coach tab. Clicking on it will provide the Learning Coach with information about the lesson, as well as if any materials are needed for that lesson. Students and Learning Coach will have support tools embedded into the courses in various spots. The Speech Stream tool will allow students to select passages on pages of content to read aloud. It also provides a dictionary, a picture dictionary, translation ability in 30+ languages, and a masked reader to help focus on smaller chunks of content. The Read Aloud speaker will identify places where content can be read aloud in a human voice, and the audio play button at the bottom will read aloud all of the content on pages within the courses. New for this academic school year is our Learning Coach support site. We know the importance of keeping you informed and providing resources to help your learning day move smoothly. This site will be accessible to you for items like learning more about your role as a learning coach, communicating with your teachers, how to navigate a course, check your students' grades, and even going beyond the coursework to accelerate, supplement, or remediate your students' learning. A ton of elementary curriculum resources will also be available, including what it looks like in a typical K-5 day, how-to guides and videos, and most importantly, module study guides will be available for our K-5 core courses, and will walk learning coaches through very specific guiding questions, suggested books to connect literacy to learning content, and even module outings that may wrap up culminating activities and real-world application for your students. Weekly automated progress reports will be sent to your Learning Coach email account. This will show you courses, teacher names, current scores, progress, and login dates to help ensure your student is keeping on track. Materials preparation will be a key to a successful learning day for you and your student. A materials list for each course is found in the resources section. General school supplies should be readily available. Materials are also noted on the Learning Coach tab of each lesson. If no materials are needed, they will not be listed. The Learning Coach should preview the lessons a student will be doing a week in advance in order to ensure the materials needed are readily available when that student encounters the lesson. K-5 will have audio practice activities. These will be accessible for your classroom teachers through the platform for fluency checks. They'll be asked to practice audio activities in each module, and the resource module will tell students how to record and submit audio in both the Learning Coach section and the Getting Started section. For independent reading in grades K-3, we require 30 to 40 minutes per day from a Just Right book. Students record on their reading log the book that they read and answer a few questions about the book, and then they'll submit their weekly reading logs and independent reading questions to their teacher. It is important for learning coaches to help guide students into selecting just right books. Very easily, you can use the 5-finger rule to support your student. The independent reading will then be used as part of the language arts reading assignments for reading logs and questions. Part 1 of the assignment, the student will fill out the reading log for the week. Part 2 of the assignment, the student will answer the reading log questions for the book they read that week. Learning coaches should discuss the book with students before completion of their assignments. The documents can be typed in and saved and downloaded for submission into the Dropbox. In grades 4 and 5, there will be novel studies. Students choose 2 books to read from a list of 3 books each semester. Novel study guides are included for each book, and learning coaches should discuss their novels with their students. These types of assignments will also be submitted into the Dropbox. Assignments will be submitted through the Dropbox when called out in courses for Show Dropbox. Assignments are found in each lesson. When there is an assignment, an activity button will appear on the lesson page. Clicking on the activity button will pull up a PDF document for the student to print, or workbooks are available if your school will provide them for offline activities. Submitting assignments is easy. In the resources module of every course, the Learning Coach lesson or Getting Started lesson, there's a video that shows how to submit assignments. Be sure to watch it with your student. For K through 3, many of the PDF documents will either be printed or you can submit them from the workbook if your school provides them. As student moves up in grade levels, they may encounter PDFs that they can type in. The resources module will explain how to save and submit these documents in the Getting Started activity. The K through 3 weekly language arts assignments are here and called out specifically for how to submit them. At the end of the week, you'll see a wrap-up of what students should be submitting, and the showing Dropbox symbol will note that students must submit assignments. Synchronous sessions. Each week in grades K through 3, or every other week in grades 4 through 5, students will meet with their teachers by phone or an LMS where they can screen share. It will last 30 to 60 minutes. Teachers will administer spelling tests, synchronous benchmark assessments, reading level assessments, go over grades and submitted work, and discuss with the student what they're learning. This is also an opportunity for remediation. The learning coach should sit in on these sessions in order to be aware of what's being discussed. Listen for any tips the teacher may be giving the student so that they can be reinforced by the coach, as well as ask any questions that they may have. Remember, sync session opportunities, frequency, and requirements may vary by your school program. We talked about some of the other suggested activities when creating a schedule, but here's a bit more detail of each of them. The morning meeting. It's important to keep young students on a schedule. Morning meeting is a time to meet with your student and discuss certain topics to start that day. They last about 15 to 20 minutes. In grades K through 2, you can talk about the calendar, days of the week, tomorrow, the next week. For grades 3 through 5, you can discuss special events for the day or things happening that week. Discuss what season, what clues outside tell us the season. Discuss the weather, discuss current events that are student appropriate, and review goals for the day. Brain breaks. After a student finishes a subject, give them a break. Anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, longer if they need a snack, shorter if they don't. The break should be structured and planned, but should include activities that allow the student to move and have fun. Research on brain breaks or online ideas that will get the student moving. Check out Go Noodle. It's an excellent website for this. Lunch and free time. Schedule lunch and free time into the day. Make it a 40-minute session. The student can eat lunch for 20 minutes and then get 20 minutes of free play. Free play should not be structured as it is a break from the learning day. And the afternoon meeting. This is a culmination of your day to wrap it up. Another 15 to 20 minutes. Discuss the goals that were accomplished. What was the best part of the day? What did they enjoy learning the most? What did they feel they need more help with? And set goals for tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please contact your school with any other questions that you may have.
Okay, so I mean, I think it sounds exciting. I hope that you do too. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to. It's a different relationship that you would develop with your children, unless you already do a lot of this. And in K-5, we do. When we're parents of young children, we kind of tend to naturally, talk a lot about their day and what they're learning. And they usually don't tell us much, but this will give you an idea of knowing exactly what they are doing and what they're supposed to be doing. And so I know that you can support them in this platform, in this curriculum. I know that you can. We will help you. There will be all kinds of supports online for you to do that. Time is probably the biggest factor. And so if you have lots of time to be able to devote to this and are super passionate, then I know you'll be successful. If it is, time is a struggle, like right now, time is a major struggle for me, then that's going to be a challenge for your child to be successful, because they're going to need somebody explaining, talking through, holding them accountable. We all know that, some students just don't get fired up about learning like we want them to. But anyway, I know that you can, and we will help you every step of the way. So we're going to talk a little bit about some Q&As, even though we don't have our chat box open. And again, feel free to email me, and I will include that in the Q&A document that we post on the website. But I have gotten a few over the course of the last week that I think we can talk about. Let me just talk about timeline first. So enrollment will begin next week. August 3rd is when enrollment will begin. Thank you, Chandra. I can tell you're going to go to that screen for me. Thank you. And so, and it'll run to August 14th. School starts August 24th. So that only gives us about, it gives us a week to get everyone sorted out and connected with the teacher, your kids enrolled into the platform, and the login information emailed to you as the parent. And so we got a pretty quick turnaround on that, but I mean, we feel confident we can make that happen. But next week starts the enrollment, and it closes on August 14th. If you are, we encourage you to take your time. You don't have to get up there on August 3rd. In fact, the elementary buildings their secretaries don't even come back until August 3rd. So I wouldn't suggest that you get up there at 9:00 a.m. on Monday, because that secretary is walking in from being gone from the summer. So I would even probably elementary wait until the 4th, but it does open the 3rd, and we're going to work with those secretaries that morning to understand all the things that we need in an enrollment. If you haven't accessed the website, please jot down that website link. It has a lot of information. The resources that I mentioned to you, they're loaded there. The courses, I mentioned those earlier. They're pretty much the standard courses, but they're loaded there, or getting ready to be loaded. And so there's just a lot. And again, the Q&A will be loaded there. So take time to do that, just so that when you go to the school. And the reason we didn't do just a link is because we want to be able to make sure that we talk with you and make sure that you have what you need to make this happen. And then you're going to fill out an enrollment packet. It's just a process. And so you'll visit with your school and get all of that filled out. The enrollment, or the academic period. And once you enroll, your child will be there for a quarter. We thought about semester. Semester makes it easy in terms of grades and things, but we think that's a really long time to restrict their ability to come back to traditional school if you would choose that as a parent. And so second quarter is, I should have that right here in front of me, October-ish, mid-October maybe, or I'll find it here in just a minute. But that would be when they can return to school if you choose. And if you would choose to stay in virtual, that's certainly your option. We plan to offer this all year. And so if right now there's no way I'm sending my kid back, they will be there all year, that's fine. But if you decide that at the end of first quarter, you want to go ahead and send them back, or it's semester ends at Christmas. So when they come back in January, that would be another time that they could come back to traditional school. But when you make this commitment, your child will be enrolled in virtual for the remainder of that quarter. I have had a few questions asked if they could do some days on virtual and some days in school. And that is not in our plan at this time. If it kind of gets confusing. So I think Mr. Badgley did a good job on our website when he put it into 2 tracks. So when you pull up the website, you see that it's traditional to the left, and to the right is virtual. And those two are 2 independently different tracks. Now in the traditional track, there's an A, B, and C. That is if we are not allowed. If something happens, if we have a major outbreak and we have to close, or if we have to start restricting, put some measures in place to restrict how we normally do things, or even go to an A-B schedule, those ABC path are what lives in the traditional path. So if my kids go to school in August, we in October end up closing school, my kids will then, they'll flip over and do distance learning, virtual instruction with their classroom teacher. But it's different than what we looked at today. But they will be in there for a quarter. And I've had some questions about special education. Really, that will be an IEP team decision, and you will be a part of that meeting. And so I really can't answer. There's too many different variables involved in special education. And I mean, it would be pointless for me to sit here and ramble on about it. So if your child receives services, just know that you can sign up for this, and we will support your child to the degree and what those supports look like, the accommodations and modifications, and those services will need to be decided in an IEP meeting. And so when you enroll, you just need your principal will make note that the student has an IEP, and then we'll go from there to figure out scheduling a meeting and getting a little bit more detail about that. Hours of attendance has been something that's come in through my email inbox so far, and we kind of covered that in the webinar. I think some people equated it to last spring when the teacher said, here's my office hours. They will post office hours, and that's so that you can visit with them if you have a question, if you need help. That may be a time that they reach out to their students and do some synchronous instruction, like it talked about in the video, where they reteach, or they, no one did well on this math lesson. I need to come on and deliver this in a different way. That would be, scheduled. But as far as hours of attendance or time, that would be the only thing. The rest of it will be your child working at his or her own pace and completing assignments. Teacher availability, I think that I just made that note. I think that was how available our teacher is going to be. And again, like I said, they'll post the office hours where you can reach them. It's definitely won't be equal to the time they would spend in the classroom. It will be supporting. It will be to support and to remediate what's happening independently on their part. I had a question about lunch and if meals would be provided for families that enroll in this option. We're still trying to work out the details. I'm not clear at this moment. I think DESE and the food service people at DESE at the State Department are still trying to decide how they roll that out. So I hate to speak about that early. I will put that as soon as I know the answer in the Q&A. I suspect that it will be an offer, and I would expect that we would probably have 1 or 2 locations where people can pick up a meal for their child if they want to do that. If they live nearby or whatever, we may have that opportunity available. And then I'm trying to look books, like, where do we get books to read? We will supply, like, in the video mentioned workbooks. We may supply and even mail to you some of those resources if we need it, or pages, but like library books and things like that, I encourage you to get a library card and become familiar with the Poplar Bluff Public Library if you haven't already. They do allow ebooks. I mean, there's a vast availability of ebooks. If you don't want your child to go to the library, I understand that, but they have the ability to download books and read those on your computer. And so that reading is one of the most important things we accomplish in our primary grades. I mean, all the way throughout, but the foundation lives in these lower grade levels. And so keep books in their hands often, keep them reading, become very familiar and an active user of the Poplar Bluff Public Library. And there may be times that we can pull some books and have those available for you to pick up from the school. But the availability and the ease of it would probably be easier at the library, just because they're open all the time. They have even on the weekends. So, but anyway, we will try to work with you as much as we can. Chandra, you got some questions during the registration. Can you think of any that maybe we didn't cover, or in this video, or in my?
You did great. You covered almost every question that came in, and most of the questions did have some overlap, and they had a lot to do with IEPs and special services. So you covered, I think, every question that we had come in. But you guys continue to send those to Patty's email as you have things pop up as well.
Okay, and I can think we're coming up on 45 minutes. I do hope this session helped you. We will have another one next Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and that's for grades 6 through 12. You are certainly welcome to pop into that one and listen and see maybe how it's different if your students, especially right there on the line, or you have multiple students, or maybe see if we know anything else at that point. This is definitely the last month, especially. Our board approved this late June, and we've been working furiously for a month to try to pull this together. And our board approved our return to learn plan last week, and we've been furiously working to try to pull that together. And so I'm sure there's big things I've missed. And so, yeah, just shoot me an email and we'll get back with you. But for time's sake today, I think we probably just need to close on out. I wish you guys a wonderful remainder of your summer. You have, I don't know if you're counting. I'm not counting. I need every bit of it, but a few weeks left. And so hope you enjoy, and we look forward to seeing your students when you're ready for them to return to school. Have a great evening.